All right, the CEO of Cybin. How we doing today, Doug?
Good morning. I'm doing great. Thanks. Thanks for having me on today.
Definitely excited to talk about, of course, getting into Cybin. First thing I want to talk about is just the mission behind the company. I know the mission, but for those investors that might have not heard of Cybin before, what is the mission?
So we're working with psychedelic molecules, and these molecules have the potential to completely change how we treat mental health disorders like depression or anxiety disorders. Today, if you have depression, you go to the doctor, you end up taking a pill every day. For some people, it works. For some people, it doesn't. Lots of side effects, very slow to work. And people often end up taking these medications for the rest of their lives. Where psychedelics differ is that we've seen in a number of studies now that some patients get relief from their depression or anxiety immediately within the same day, and that those benefits can last for months at a time from just one or two doses. So imagine that you go to the doctor, you get a treatment, you're depression free and free for months at a time from just one or two doses. Completely game changing. So really exciting stuff. We're working with well-known molecules like psilocybin and DMT, modifying them so that they're scalable in the clinic, they're short acting, and easy to take. And now we're in human trials with two of these treatments, and we're on our way to bringing them to market.
Yeah, let's talk about that today. Cybin announcing that you're commencing the dosage of the CBB004 psychedelic-based molecule in humans, of course, proprietary dimethyltryptamine molecule. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so dimethyltryptamine, or DMT, is a short-acting psychedelic. It occurs naturally in plants and in animals, including in our own human brain, actually. If you take a dose, it's typically really short acting, 5 or 10 minutes. So quite aggressive, very short. And our goal at Cybin has been to do a couple of things with our proprietary version of DMT. And that's one, to extend the duration, typically from a 5 or 10 minute duration to maybe 30 minutes, something that is a duration that's more therapeutically useful. And then also find and develop different dosage forms that are more convenient. Typically today, if you want to give DMT to a patient over a longer period like that, you'd have to use an IV infusion.
Mhm.
So that means having a line into someone's arm, while they're in this DMT space, this DMT environment. And the DMT space is really not like the real world. And so that's a little bit challenging. And also, let's face it, psychiatrists don't use IVs. They're not set up in their offices for that. So our goal with CYB4, our deuterated version of DMT, is to extend the treatment duration out to 30 minutes or so, but also provide dosage forms that are more convenient, like inhaled or maybe a subcutaneous.
All right, can you walk us through some of the data that you've shared so far on this new molecule?
Yeah, what we've seen so far in our preclinical data is one, we can extend the duration of DMT about 300%, about threefold. So 10 minutes to 30 minutes. We think that's more therapeutically useful, but also very convenient, in and out of the doctor's office, maybe in an hour. And then we've also increased the bioavailability. So typically, if you tried to take DMT orally today, it wouldn't have any effect. It's broken down in the body, never gets into the bloodstream. But we've managed to amend and alter the molecule so that we can change that bioavailability and make dosage forms that are more convenient.
All right, now it looks like we are getting in an importance to the advancement in the stage right now, right? This is now going into trial. Tell us about why that's so important.
Yeah, I think the team has been really smart here. We acquired a DMT study last year, an ongoing study. The team has modified that study, and based on all the learnings we have with DMT, has managed to alter the design of the study to include now our proprietary molecule CYB4. So we've managed to bridge that existing data. We've already dosed about 40 subjects or so with DMT, and we've learned a lot about the dose dynamics. It's
Mhm.
important to understand what it takes to get a patient into that DMT space and keep them there. And we're taking all those learnings now, and we've accelerated the program so that we can start dosing subjects with CYB4, a novel molecule, with the hope eventually to bring that treatment to patients with anxiety disorders.
Yeah, I mean, the only other kind of study that I ever saw that came out of DMT was the Spirit Molecule, Rick Strassman, right? And that was more intravenous. So definitely a big development there, Doug. Excited to hear what moves forward. Let's talk a little bit about how this differentiates CYB04 from other psychedelic-based molecules currently in development right now.
Yeah, many other molecules that are in development are very long acting. LSD might have a duration of, say, 10 hours. Psilocybin could have a duration of 8 hours. And you have to remember that patients are taking these treatments. The expectation is they take these treatments in a clinical setting under supervision. So that's a lot of costs associated with providing these treatments. So if we can reduce that treatment time down to 30, 40 minutes or so, and still get those clinical benefits for patients with anxiety disorders, then we're really, transforming how we treat patients with these molecules. And let's not forget, anxiety disorders are massively disabling. They're the sixth largest leading cause of disability globally. And with current treatments, 40 to 50% of patients stop taking them after 3 months. So they're clearly dissatisfied. There's a massive unmet need here, a huge economic burden. And this will be a real breakthrough in anxiety disorders and potentially also for depression as well.
So why does Cybin believe that CYB004 has promise for treating anxiety disorders?
Yeah, we're really familiar with the mechanisms. Right? So we know that certain receptors in the brain, serotonin receptors, 1A, 2A, when those are agonized, that you can create anxiolytic or antidepressant effects. And DMT hits those receptors, and we've already started to see clinical data in depression that DMT can be effective. And there's a big overlap between depression and anxiety. A large amount, 75% of the diagnostic criteria for depression and anxiety are the same. About 70% of patients with anxiety disorders also have depression. So we have a lot of confidence that that mechanism of action will work. And if we can bring down that duration from the 10 or 8 hours with LSD and psilocybin down to 30, 40 minutes, then you've also got a treatment that is very scalable. Scalable means more reimbursable. And at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure that we have broad democratic access to these much needed treatments. And the best way to do that is to make sure that patients are reimbursed for them.
All right, now CYB004 isn't the only one inactive right now. You have major active drug programs going on. What else is in the pipeline, or maybe some important dates that we should be looking forward coming up?
Yeah, we're also working on a version of psilocybin as well for depression. And again, we've taken that 6 or 8 hour treatment and we've cut the time, we believe, in the clinic in half. So half the time in the clinic means half the clinic costs with our psilocybin program, which we're calling CYB3. That's in a human study right now. We expect to have some data around the end of February, so just in a few weeks' time, we hope will confirm that fast-acting, shorter duration approach that we're taking with psilocybin in depression. And then around the middle of this year, we expect to see some efficacy data from that study as well. So first in dosing with CYB4, PK safety, dosing data with CYB3, and efficacy data later this year. It's a big year for us. We've gone from preclinical work into the clinic in around 18 to 24 months. And this year, we expect to see a number of clinical readouts, which I think will be really meaningful.
Excellent. Now I'm going to bring one from the chat here. I always like to go to our retail traders and investors out there that want to have a question. Walter coming in with, how is this contextualized as therapy?
Yeah, so one difference with psychedelics compared to current treatments is it's really the patient doing the work. So during these treatment sessions, patients are wearing an eye mask so they don't have any external distractions. They have a headset on, they're listening to music, and they're going internally. So they're doing the work during this treatment session. Prior to the treatment session, patients meet with their psychotherapist, their psychiatrist, and they're prepared. They're told what to expect. They set clear goals for themselves that they're trying to tackle, and they go into the treatment session with intent. during the session, they're doing their psychological work, and there's a follow-up after to make sure that you can contextualize what they saw, what they learned in that session, with their initial goals. So it's very much a team approach with their psychiatrist or their psychotherapist, um, but a little different from regular treatments. That way, you just go home and take a tablet every day.
Excellent. Last question, of course, you can touch it if you'd like. I think it's an important one to address is why do you think Wall Street hasn't fully appreciated the opportunity that Cybin represents? And then also want you to give a little bit of a shout out there for your virtual R&D day that will be coming up at the end of the month. So definitely give that date and tell us what we can look forward to in the event.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, look, the biotech sector has been pretty beaten up in this macro environment that we're in. You know, that we saw it peak around February of 2021, and it's been coming down since then. I will say we've gotten off to a pretty good start this year, both in the psychedelic space and also in the biotech space. Starting to see some M&A, starting to see some financings getting done. I think you know, it's hard to call the bottom, but it certainly feels like there are brighter days ahead. So we're excited about what we're doing at Cybin. We're focused on the fundamentals and on execution. And as you say, we have an R&D day coming up on the 28th of February. You can find the details on our website. So sign up there, and we'll be sharing details of our programs, CYB3 and CYB4, on that date, February 28th.
Well, excellent. I actually went and put that up right now in our chat, so they can sign up if they'd like to sign up for that event on February 28th. If you guys want to check out that virtual R&D day, go ahead and click that link. That'll bring you right to the event. Sign up. Thank you for joining us today, Doug. I appreciate you coming on, talking about the recent developments, of course, in CYB004. We'll look forward to seeing more developments out of that virtual R&D day, and we'll have you back on, Doug. Appreciate you.
Perfect. Thanks for having me today. Really appreciate it.
All right. That's going to